at the same time is it would be a coup for WWE to have him show up on their television. There's no doubt about it. So in a way, even if he does win, Matt, there's still possibility that WWE are going to then, maybe he'll be even a bigger commodity to have him on their TV. A guy who's got a legit title from UFC beating a guy like Daniel Cormier. And as you say, if he loses, there's definitely more reason for Brock to be around. But we will see. Definitely looks like he's going to be rolling in the money one way or another, Matt. And I'm sure the thing is, Matt, I suppose with the Saudi Arabia agreement for another 9 years, they seem very hot on Brock Lesnar, and he gets paid an absolute stack of money. I mean, he gets paid the most out of everybody, Matt. You can't see Brock just going, I'm not going to go. Do you know what I mean? Like for one or two shows a year, it's just, why wouldn't you take another 3-4 million in your account? It's insane money. So we will see. Okay, well, sort of a couple of the things that we haven't mentioned, I suppose 2018 that did sort of fly past us, very much so, Matt, this one. How about Hulk Hogan returning on WWE TV, albeit in Saudi Arabia soil, and then absolutely no mention of the entire thing, WWE keeping that totally under wraps. But it's strange, isn't it, the whole Hulk Hogan situation, Matt, and what is actually going to happen here? Was he just brought to Saudi Arabia just for the Prince? We know he spent 3 days prior so he was just hanging out with the Prince basically before the entire WWE guys got there, as like an extra bonus because he was such a big fan of him. Is that all it was, Matt? Do you think that's how you see it? It was just for catering for this one guy basically, and actually WWE, as far as corporate go, with everything they're tied up in the States, they're going to be sort of PG and ethically right in the United States, but when they go to Saudi Arabia, that's out the window. Pay us the money, we'll give you him. How do you see Hulk Hogan's future and the relationship going forward with WWE, Matt? Because it's still very much up in the air, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I see it like a total free-for-all when they go over there. It's like what happens in Saudi Arabia stays in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
They might as well do everything off the books. Like no records are made here tonight. Because it's just so crazy. Yeah, and like you said, Hogan can just turn up and then no one's going to mention it afterwards. And it's a similar thing even when we talked about earlier, like Shawn Michaels. He came back, did his match, and there must be a whole list of people waiting for a match with this guy. But yet when we come back to American TV program, no one's even going to mention that. No one's going to even request a match or even make it sound like it's on the books, because we heard this whole thing about AJ was desperate for the match and everything, but it's just completely forgotten about until probably around WrestleMania time, maybe, when they need to actually put on another big match and they want to throw some cash about and put some in Shawn Michaels' pocket. Of course, when people talk about backstage politics and everything, it's kind of no real shock that that Shawn Michaels is going to walk away with a lot of money, and his best friend is kind of arranging these kind of deals.
Yeah, no, totally. Totally agree with you there. The Hulk Hogan situation, as I say, it's a difficult one, and I don't know that really he's done a good enough job on his own back of sort of apologising. I don't know if he's done a decent enough job there, if he said the right things, if people really buy that sincerity that he's trying to get across. I think given what happened in the locker room that time with the New Day guys coming out about it after, that they still weren't that happy, it was genuine, and that he was trying to blame it all on about just the sort of idea of being caught out other than the actual content that was said. I feel like there's if internally they're not comfortable with this, there's no way they're going to put him out in front of thousands of fans that they just can't control the reaction. And it was interesting. I said to Matt a couple of days ago that the recent tapings they did for the last Raw that went out, obviously it was recorded in the same place, and as a way of getting the fans sort of not too tired during the show, they did a lot of interacting with the fans, and they basically allowed the 3 members of the audience to get in the ring, and you could impersonate your favourite star. And I think they did sort of like Macho Man, Randy Savage, and somebody did Hogan. And I think there are videos of this as well, by the way, and it literally got crazy boo. Like, it was just, it weren't even like a couple, it was just seemed like the whole audience were just like, no, we don't want that, we're not having this yet, we're not going to accept this yet. So it was very interesting, and you wonder whether it was a whole plant by WWE to have said, this guy, just be Hulk Hogan, let's see what it does. But yeah, very interesting. So who knows with Hulk Hogan? You never say never with wrestling and WWE in particular, but yeah, who knows. Matt, just before we start talking about some of the things that we think might happen in the new year, of course I'll try and be a little bit more positive for the second half, but we went to obviously quite a few. I think, is this the most amount of live shows you've been to in a year, Matt, yourself?
Yeah, it may well have been actually.
Yeah,
I think I went to probably everything that was going on in the UK that was WWE based.
Yeah.
And then probably a few other random ones that we went to as well. Ring of Honor, wasn't it? And
yeah.
Progress.
Yes, yeah. I mean, and of course, we did the. I mean, Matt done Raw and SmackDown at the start of the year. They were the actual shows that came over here. I went with him to. We went to the Raw one, didn't we? We were there, and then of course we did the Ring of Honor show that was absolutely baking. It was basically in a leisure centre in Crystal Palace. It wasn't the most aircon friendly venue that they're ever going to pick, that's for sure. But that was a great show as well. I enjoyed that. It's always one of those things when you go to a live show, you can't always remember everything. And then, of course, Matt, we did the NXT UK in the Royal Albert Hall. 2 nights of that, Monday and Tuesday, which was a very, very strange atmosphere. I think especially the first night, where I would say, I don't even know if it was 50% full, let alone anything else. But it was a lot shy that first night, and I was a bit worried about the whole thing. And then, of course, the second night really picked up, and I actually thought it was a great atmosphere, and it was great to see a lot of the NXT people there. And of course, then, Matt, we went to the WWE live show that I had back in London, and I know you went. Did you go the other night as well? I think you did like 2 nights, didn't you?
Yeah.
And we saw Ronda Rousey down there, and I actually got to say, I think me and Matt discussed this. We both agreed that actually our preferences now are actually more on the house shows from WWE than they are the sort of live TV shows. Why do you think that is, Matt? Is it just blatantly the whole sort of stop-start to the TV show, or is it just better match quality in general?
There is that to it, and also when you watch it on a week-to-week basis, you want to watch it back and see it with the commentary and see the bits you missed. So you kind of have to relive it again.
Yeah.
You go for those 3 hours again when you watch it back. And also, I suppose when you're watching a live show, you get that possibility for some nice surprises, some matchups that you don't normally get to see on a Raw, just to give that sort of special feeling to the crowd. You get a lot of these kind of street fight matches and everything, and not the kind of ones you see on Raw that are like a candy cane, like Miracle on 34th Street fight. Yeah, no, totally. The thing is, it is difficult. I mean, I think I felt like the same way when we went to Brooklyn and we got to that Raw show, and it is completely different when you've sat through NXT, a takeover, and you've sat through SummerSlam, and then you go to a Raw show. It's like, it's so for TV. I mean, it's so for the person in the sofa at home than it is the live audience. I just think it's tailored for, the people sitting at home than it is the live crowd. It really is, because it's very difficult to, as a live audience member, to sort of just get, stop and start. You've got adverts coming up, then they take it off the screen, and it's just like, what the hell. And then you got people running back because they might be in the next shot of the camera, and it's just ridiculous sometimes. So I much do prefer the
live show nowadays. I mean, like I always say, if you're not been to a Raw or a SmackDown live, obviously you want to do it on your tick list, no doubt about it. But I think nowadays I'm just more for the live shows than I am for the actual TV tapings that they do. But yeah, and now I want to say, from my point of view, my most favourite show to have gone to this year in person has to be, and it's not just because this is the last one. I know sometimes that's there it is, isn't it, with a lot of things. You think, is he just saying that because that's the only thing I can mainly remember? But I truly enjoyed this Progress Hello Wembley show. It was 8 matches, and I've got to say, I can remember all 8 matches all the way through. And it's very, very seldom that I get to this point, months and months after, that I can still remember each particular match and what they represented. And I've got to be honest with you, I was a stranger in this arena because although I knew a lot of the talent, I didn't know the Progress scene. I didn't know the storylines. But I would say there was a majority in there, Matt, that were just really big Progress fans, because they all seemed like they knew what was going on. They had a lot of passion, a lot of deep felt passion, aka I think we all know one of them, Matt, Eddie Dennis, certainly had a lot of passion for him, didn't he, after his story. But honestly, I don't know if it was just they did a really good job of the way it was building. If there was one thing I would say, I think like some of the matches were a little bit too long in areas, but you can't really argue with the quality that they were putting in there. And honestly, I think the way it was presented for an indie show that's non WWE, I was really, really impressed, and I got to say it was. It was one of the best sort of paced cards I've ever really sat through to a live show. I felt like every match had meaning to it, and it's very seldom you get that. But obviously, I know we booked these tickets, Matt. What was it, like a year in advance? So, but I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. I got to be honest with you. I was expecting, sort of as good as Ring of Honor, and Ring of Honor do an excellent job, by the way. I don't want to take anything away from them, but in terms of like. It almost seems like all the matches we got, Matt, that we were shown, they all had sort of significant endings to. Even the women's match, the whole lot. It was Matt Riddle's last match. It was Doug Williams' last match of all time. Just so many different things going on, and the one thing to it, Matt, that I really think this is what worked well on me is variety. There was variety. There was something for everyone. Whether you was a hardcore fan. Whether you were somebody that liked, traditional British wrestling, whether you liked all the crazy characters at the beginning in the Battle Royal, there was just something for everything. What about for you, Matt? What would you say was your best experience to a live show last year? Because I know you also went to some at the back end for WWE as well. Was there any that really stand out for you, Matt, and why was that?
I think it was a really good year for us in general.
Yeah.
I don't think like any of them were disappointing. I feel like for WWE it was just a standard service.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've come over here, we're going to show you this and that, and that's going to be good enough for you, and then go. I don't feel like they went above and beyond. I mean, the UK tournament was good. I don't think it lived up to the expectations of what the previous one had done, which was kind of a shame. But hopefully that isn't going to be the last we'll see of that. But yeah, I think I'll agree with you. Progress, they did go above and beyond. I feel like they were going out of their way to try and give the fans exactly what the fans want. And I suppose that's what a lot of wrestling companies strive to do, but not a lot pull it off. And a lot of the time it isn't the company's fault. I mean, for instance, when we saw this Progress one, it ran well over, scheduled time. I think it was like about an hour over or something in the end. And they had so many video packages and everything, but they wanted, for people like us that hadn't followed the company and followed the storylines, they wanted us to be engaged in the matches. And so they did show all of this, the full-length video package. So I'm glad that they did, because it does get you invested in the matches a hell of a lot more. So I'm going to say Progress as well, because not just because it's a British thing and that we have to support it, it's just because they do an excellent job and they do go from strength to strength. And there's a reason why WWE has chosen them for a connection out of all the things they could have chosen over here.
Yeah, no, totally. And funny thing about that was as well, I think, like, was it 3 or 4 weeks prior, they found out they weren't going to be able to use Will Ospreay, and I forgot who the other guy was, but I know there was two names, and they couldn't use them on the card because they were going to be doing the New Japan show, in America at the time. So considering they didn't have